Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for watching. I'm super pumped for today's video because I have a review on a ton of new Covergirl stuff. I'm talking all of the new TruNaked eyeshadow palettes, the new peach stuff, the new chocolate stuff, the new face trios they put out, a bunch of things that I want to share with you guys, swatches, my thoughts on all of it, all of that fun stuff. So let's go ahead and just get right into the video. I want to touch on a couple things first. These I've already talked about a lot on my channel, but it is the new Covergirl primers that they put out. They did release 4. It was an illuminating one, like a green one for redness correction, and then a pore minimizing one and the smoothing one. I really like both of these. This one is pore minimizing, this one is smoothing. The smoothing is my favorite out of the two, and I've talked about both of these, or I think maybe just this one on my channel in my favorites video, but I do really like both of them and they are new, but I didn't want to spend so much time on that because I did already talk about it. And I've already talked about this as well. This is the new TruBlend Matte Made Foundation. I absolutely love this. This was sent to me, but then I bought it and then they sent them to me and I was like, oh, okay. But I really like this foundation. It's a nice comfort matte finish. So again, I've talked this to death in my May favorites, so I'll link that for you guys, but I did just want to shout it out since it is a newer product from Covergirl. Okay, then let's go into concealers. So recently they released the TruBlend It's Lit Concealer, and it is a concealer typed pen like the Vitalist concealer that they came out with that had a white cap. I do have the shade, it's not on here, but I believe it's the shade Fair. I know it's the lightest shade. I will say this about this concealer. With the Vitalist one, I felt like it was a little yellow and a little streaky. This one is not. It's definitely more opaque. It's not as yellow toned, which on my skin tone is a lot better. And it's super brightening. I really like this concealer. It's not super full coverage, but it is a nice brightening effect under here. And just for every day, I feel like it's not too heavy for me to use. So it's definitely a really nice concealer for every day. And I really enjoy this formula way better than I did the Vitalist concealer. So let's go ahead and talk about the individual powders that they put out. I do have my phone here with my notes because I've been taking extensive notes on all of these things. So I want to make sure I get all of it out. So if I'm looking down or I need to pause for a second, that's why. But they released 4 individual powder products. So they have the Peach Punch blushes in 120, which is a lighter tone. It's a satin finish. It's a lighter peach. And then they released 130, which is more of a deeper peach color, a little bit brighter, a little bit poppy, and it also is a nice satin finish on the skin. And then they also released the Peach Punch highlighter, and it is it just says 110 Peach Punch. So it is a nice champagne-y, almost a little bit yellow undertoned highlighter. It does have some glitter in it, so just beware of that. And then they also released the Chocoholic bronzer, and it just says 150 is the shade. And this is the only shade that this came in. And this is a shimmery deep bronzer. I believe that the peach scented things are exclusive to Walmart. I'm not 100% certain on that, but I believe that is what I heard or read on Instagram. Okay, so let's go and start off with the bronzer. So the chocolate bronzer, really beautiful formula. I'm sure as you guys saw on the swatch, it is a really opaque color, a lot of just bam in your face, and it's super rich and yummy. And yes, it does smell like chocolate, and it doesn't smell like gross chocolate. It smells really good actually, and I think the packaging is super adorable. But it's way too dark for my skin tone, obviously. I think if you have a deeper skin tone, this will look really nice. It is extremely shimmery though. So if you're someone who you don't like a shimmery bronzer, I would definitely stay clear of this just because this is very almost metallic on the skin. And me personally, for a bronzer, I don't love that type of finish. I will honestly probably keep this with my single eyeshadows and use it as an eyeshadow and not as a bronzer, just because of the tone and also because of just how metallic it is. Okay, the highlighter. This is an okay shade. I'm wearing it today. it's interesting because when you first apply it, it's like, oh wow, that's a really pretty highlight. But then it just really, it disappears so quick. I don't really know what's going on with that. And it does have some chunkiness in there, a little bit of like chunky glitter flecks. I'm not the biggest fan of that. So this is okay. It's not my favorite. I think they've definitely released better, which I'm going to talk about in a second. And then the blushes. I really enjoy both of these. I think that they're beautiful. I think that they sit on the skin really nicely and they're really smooth when they apply and they last a long time on the cheeks. So out of all of the individuals, the blushes are my favorite. Okay, let's move on to the face palettes that they released. So they released the Chocoholic Contour Palette, and this is a chocolate scented contour palette. And you get like 2 highlights and 1 matte bronzer in here. The bronzer or the highlight that is on the far left, that is a little bit more sparkly, a little bit chunkier than the one on the right. And then they released the Peach Punch Highlight Palette. This one you get a highlight, a blush, and a bronzer. The bronzer is matte, the blush is satin, and the highlight is kind of like a deepish pink almost, like it has a pink shift to it highlight, but it's really smooth. There's no chunky glitter in that one. And then they released 2 TruBlend Serving Sculpt palettes. One is in Bloom Babe, which this one is more of the peachy one. Again, you get a matte bronzer, a satin blush, and then you get a like pinky peach highlighter shade in here, which is nice and smooth, no chunky glitter. And then in the other one, you get Rose, it's called Rose Nights, and you get a more like cool toned pink blush, a yellowy type of highlighter, which does have some flecks of shimmer in there, like some chunky glitter, and then a matte bronzer that is a little deeper. Now they do say on the back that Rose Nights is for medium to deep skin tones and Bloom Babe is for fair to light. I have pretty fair skin and I feel like I can wear both of them pretty well. And then they also released the TruBlend Super Stunner Highlight Palette. So it's called It's Lit, and this is for fair, light skin tones. They also have one that is a shade deeper. I didn't purchase that one though because there was no way I could wear those highlight shades. So I just picked up this one for my skin tone personally. You get a yellowy gold highlight in here that's really subtle and pretty smooth. And then you get a like lighter whitish highlight, which is really smooth and really pretty. And then the far left one is a little bit deeper, a little bit more rosy, but it's still really nice for fair to light skin tones. And that one's really smooth as well. Okay, so what I want to talk about now is the comparisons between these. So when I bought both of the Peach Punch Highlight Palette and the TruBlend Serving Sculpt Palette in Bloom Babe, I definitely thought, okay, these are super similar just in the packaging, right? They look really similar, different configurations, different packaging, of course. But when you really look at all the colors, they look very similar to each other. So I did do some side-by-side swatches that I'll throw up for you guys. The Peach palette is on the top and Bloom Babe is on the bottom. And as you guys can see, they are very, very similar. The blushes might be slightly different, and I say that ever so slightly. So do you need both of these? No. I would definitely just grab one because in my opinion, they do the same thing. They look the exact same on the skin, and even in the swatches, they look pretty much the same. So I definitely just recommend purchasing one of those. I do think that the formula of these are really nice. The blush formulas are really nice. They're pigmented. They blend very well. They're a little bit powdery, but I don't mind that because of just how well they blend onto the skin. And the highlights I do really like as well. Some of them that have the chunky sparkle in them, I'm not a huge fan of because I just don't really like that type of texture. But I think if you want the highlight palette, this one is really nice. Out of all the highlights, I love these the most. So I would recommend picking up the highlight palette if obviously you just want a highlight. I even recommend this over the individual highlight. Now this will run you a couple dollars more, but it's definitely worth it. Let's talk price really quick while we're there. These I found, the individual ones I found for $6.94 at Walmart, and then the palettes I found for $9.98 at Walmart. So just a little under $10 for the palettes and then a little under $7 for the individuals. Now, I want to say this about the palettes. The bronzers in them, the formula is not consistent across the board. Some of the bronzers are a little bit stiffer. Some of them are a little bit more smooth. I love the bronzer in Rose Nights. This one right here. This bronzer is really smooth, really nice and pigmented, where I feel like the bronzers in these palettes, the Bloom Babe and the Peach palette, are a little bit stiffer, a little bit harder to get some pigment onto a brush and onto your skin in a really beautiful way. So that's another thing to really look out for. I do like the bronzer in the chocolate palette. I think that's really smooth as well. Again, I can't use these highlights on my skin, so I'll probably just use these as like eyeshadows or something. But the bronzer, if I use a light hand, I can definitely use it. And this one does smell like chocolate, and the peach does smell like peach. So, and then the just these, they don't have a scent to them. So if you're really against scents, go for something like this. One more thing I want to add about all of the face products. The Peach Punch blush in 120, so it's this lighter one right here. It is very, very similar to the blush in the Peach palette. So it's very similar to that one, which I'm sure you guys can kind of tell. And it's also very similar to the one in Bloom Babe, the sculpting palette. And again, it's because this palette and the Peach palette, let me open it up, these are pretty much the same. So yes, the individual blush in 120 is very, very similar to the peach blushes in these palettes. So if you're gonna buy these palettes or one of them, I would say don't buy this individual blush. Now the blush in 130 is different. It's a little bit deeper, a little bit more poppy. I actually prefer this one. I think it looks better on my cheeks. So just another little thing to be aware of, that there is some little duplicates in the face products. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to the new eyeshadow palettes they released. So these were $9.98 at Walmart as well. And I believe I saw these in a CVS near me as well, so I'm sure prices will range depending on where you buy it. Now, I love the TruNaked formula of eyeshadows. I think that they're very, very smooth. They blend so beautifully, and yes, they are a little bit powdery, but I don't mind that because of how well they blend. So just be aware that they are a more powdery type of formula. I would say they border like Lorac, Anastasia, not so much like a Too Faced or Tarte type of formula. They're definitely softer. So just beware, you know, tap off your brush, all of that. But I really enjoy this formula. So I knew I kind of liked the formula, and I wanted to see what the new kind of shade ranges were, and also if they all were the same type of formula that it always has been. And yes, this is the same formula as the nudes, the golds, the smokes, the naked, the jewels, or no, not the naked, the roses, all of those types of that TruNaked palettes that have been out already. So this is the same type of formula. They released one that smells like peaches, of course, and this is Peach Punch. You get a lot of nice, really peachy tones in here. You get 1, 2, 3, 4 mattes, and then you get a nice range of shimmers as well. You can definitely make this a lighter look or take it a little bit deeper if you'd like. They also put one out that smells like chocolate, and this is Chocoholic. This is the one I am wearing today. You get some nice mattes in here, some really beautiful shimmers, and I was kind of worried about my look today because I am going to work after this, and I thought, oh, is it going to be too smoky for work? But it's really not, as you guys can see, because I didn't really do anything on the lower lash line and I added a nude eyeliner. It looks really nice and almost daytime appropriate, but I really could smoke this out for nighttime. What I did today is I put this one all over the lid. This is my transition shade. This one to kind of blend up onto the brow bone, and then this one on the outer corner. And I think it's just a really nice, kind of deeper look, but it's still really beautiful. And then they put out one that is Sunsets. So this one doesn't have a scent, but this is like the pinks and the oranges that everyone has been going crazy about. You get 1, 2, 3, 4 mattes in here, and then the rest are shimmers. You get some lighter shimmery shades as well as some like really pink shades that are beautiful. So if you've been wanting to try that whole like pinky orange color combo, but you're a little scared and you don't really want to buy, let's say, the Anastasia Modern Renaissance, you don't want to spend that much money, this is definitely a more affordable option. And then they put out a really colorful palette called Dazed. So this one is beautiful. There's only like one matte in here, and it's the really bright blue. Everything else has some sort of satin or shimmery finish in it. You get some purples, a really beautiful green, two really beautiful blues, a yellow, an orange. It's just really beautiful palette, and I think it's gorgeous. I've used the green on the lower lash line, and I think it's stunning. Something I do want to say about the Dazed palette. When I first saw it, I thought, oh, is that going to be really similar to the Jewels that they already have out? And it is, but I did take a picture in Walmart. I took the Dazed palette and the Jewels palette, and I put them like side by side, and I took a picture, so I'll put that up for you guys. And as you can see, the Dazed palette has a lot more color in there, and also the colors in the palette are deeper. They're more rich. They're not as muted. Maybe the blues and the purples in both palettes, the Dazed and the Jewels, those are both really pigmented and rich, but everything else in the Jewels palette is pretty muted, whereas in the Dazed palette, everything is really full color and just nice and richly packed with just pigment. It's beautiful. I do like how in each different palette, you get different finishes. You get some mattes, you get some satins, you get some shimmers, you get some more glittery shades. I love that they are all really that you get a really nice range of different finishes in each palette. I think that's really smart to do as well. Overall, I really like these palettes just because I really like the formula. I know some people don't, but I really do. I think they're great. I do think the peach one is probably my favorite just because you can get such really light summery looks with it that I think look absolutely stunning. But what I love about CoverGirl's TruNaked palettes is that each one definitely has its place in the full line. You know what I mean? I would say that Chocoholic is a deeper, richer version of the Nudes palette, but everyone is just so distinct in their own way that I think they're all different enough to where if you have all of them, you're not like, oh, these two are the same. You know what I mean? You definitely have like different palettes when you buy the different ones, which I really like. So I was really pleased with the new eyeshadow palettes. I definitely recommend them. Okay, last but not least, I do want to chat about some new lip products they put out. So I just grabbed one of the new lipsticks and one of the new lip liners. So let's talk about the lip liner first. This is the Exhibitionist lip liner, and I got the shade Garnet Red 225. This was $5.94 at Walmart. What I love about this lip liner is the tip. As you guys will see, it has a nice slanted tip to it where it's so easy to apply. You get such a nice line. Because of that slant, it really just hugs the lip line so beautifully. You can get such a nice Cupid's bow. I think it's absolutely wonderful. And the formula is really nice too. It's creamy, but not overly creamy where you have to be super careful and it's messy. It's just the right texture. I think it's awesome. I definitely want more shades. And then this lipstick is one of the new Demi mattes that they released. So I think they're kind of doing some repackaging. They did put out some metallic lipsticks as well, but I personally do not like metallic lips on me, so I didn't buy any of those. And I just got one lipstick. I'm really trying to be good, guys. So like I said, this is a Demi matte finish, and this is in the shade 445, Just Sayin. And this is a beautiful hot pink. I will I will throw up a picture of myself wearing this because I didn't want to wear it today since I am going to work. It seems like it's a bit much for work, but I wore it yesterday and it's beautiful. It's such a nice formula because it is that nice demi matte to where it feels super comfortable on the lips. It's not overly drying. It feels really nice and creamy, but it does have a more of a matte finish. It's not 100% matte, like a chalky matte finish, which I don't mind it. But with a bright shade like this, it still doesn't smear and move everywhere, which is really nice. Because sometimes I think with brighter shades or deeper shades, you know, we want those especially to really stay in our lip line because we don't want to be looking like a clown. And this doesn't do that. I will say it's a little bit streaky going on. You kind of have to do some evening out, but it's nothing that's like not workable. You know what I mean? It's not even really hard to make it even. It's just you got to play with it just a smidge. It's not just like whoop, one swipe. This was also $5.94. The lipstick was at Walmart. Okay, you guys, so that is it for the new CoverGirl stuff that I have tried. I know they usually do send me PR stuff, at least the last couple times they've had. but I really wanted this stuff, and so I didn't want to wait to see if they did send it to me. I just went out and bought it because I was super excited to play with this stuff. So all of this stuff was purchased by me except for the primers and the foundation. Well, no, the foundation I bought too, because that one is the one I bought. And then, so I bought the foundation, but then they send it to me, so, you know, and the primers, they were sent to me, but everything else I did purchase with my own money. That is it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Please give it a thumbs up if you did and hit that subscribe button, and I will catch you guys in my next video. Bye!